What's the difference? From TCP Academy, I am Mr. Wilson. Today we're going to be looking at symbiosis. Symbiosis refers to an interaction between organisms of different species. The interaction may bring benefit, harm, or no notable advantages nor disadvantages. Mutualism. Both organisms benefit from the interaction. The interaction between a ticks and a cattle would have been parasitic. However, the egret removing the ticks from the cattle would have formed a mutualistic relationship in which the egret would have benefited from getting food and the cattle comfort. The sea anemone and the clownfish, as is seen in the picture. Here, the clownfish would have gotten food and protection from the anemone, while the anemone would have gotten nutrient from the dropping of a fish. The fish would also remove organisms that would have, of course, harmed the anemone, which makes it a mutualistic relationship as both organisms are benefiting. Then there is also the nitrogen fixing bacteria that is located in the root nodules of leguminous crop. Here, the bacteria would have gotten somewhere to live while it is fixing nitrogen that the plant is able to use for its growth and other processes. Shark and the remora fish. This is, of course, another mutualistic relationship. Here, the remora fish would have actually hitched a ride on the shark, moving around freely, no energy used, while it would have been eating the scraps left over from the fish, thus providing this clean environment and safe environment for the shark. This is a good example of mutualistic relationship. We're seeing the egret there on the horse, but the egret is popularly found among cattle, and the cattle are standing over there wondering, why is the egret over there and not over here? We have work to be done. We need some ticks to be removed. Predation. Predation is popularly called a predator-prey relationship, and it refers to a relationship in which one organism, the predator, hunts and feed on another organism, which is called the prey. So here the shark would have been the predator and man the prey. And there's also this relationship between plants and herbivore, where the herbivore is the predator and of course the plants would have been the prey. Here we have another relationship with the beetle here and the aphid. So the aphid in green, and we refer to this beetle here as a love bug. So this would have been a relationship in which the love bug would be eating the aphid here. A biological control in agriculture. The aphid would be, of course, be parasitic to the plant, as it would have been taking sap from the phloem vessel in the plant. Commensalism. Commensalism refers to a relationship in which one organism benefits and the other is not affected, as in the case of the hermit crab using the shell of a dead snail. The snail is not affected, but of course the hermit crab would have gotten protection from the shell. Another example here is the egret, which follows behind a grazing cattle. Now, in this particular relationship between the cattle and the egret is not really feeding from the cattle. As the cattle moves through the grass, the egret would, of course, feed on whatever is found in the grass and not on the cattle. Here, the egret is benefiting, but the cattle is in no way affected. Then there is, of course, the epiphytes on trees. And epiphytes would be like this plant here growing on another tree. It is there getting sunlight, but it is not affecting the plant in any way, shape, or form. So it benefits from this high elevation. No predator would be affecting the red plant here seen on this tree. However, it would have been able to carry out photosynthesis without hurting the plant on which it is perched. This is a popular one, parasitism, and this pretty much refers to a relationship in which an organism is of course hurt while the other organism is benefiting. So here the mosquito is a parasite to human here having a grand time, as they are of course sucking the blood from the human and could very well introduce the plasmodium, or one would say could cause dengue or malaria. Now, the mosquito is harming man. Tapeworm and man is also another example of a parasitic relationship. And of course, the ticks on the cattle or on human is a good example of a parasitic relationship. Here we have a ticks, and this is really dangerous to both cattle and other organisms. Amensalism, this is not on the CXC syllabus, but it refers to a relationship in which one organism is hurt or destroyed while the other is unaffected by the interaction. So the elephant here moving through the grass is of course affected. The elephant is not affected in any way, as it just moved pretty much through the grass. Penicillin are pretty much killing a bacterium. Here, this is a case where the penicillin is not affected, as penicillin is pretty much from a fungus. So the fungus is not affected, but the bacteria is, of course, killed. And another thing we could look at is competition. Here we could have intraspecific and interspecific competition, where intra speaks to a competition within the species and inter with different species. And then we have antibiosis. Antibiosis speak to a relationship in which one organism secretes a chemical to kill another. The last one we look at here is neutralism, and this is not on the syllabus for CXC. Here, organisms, they are usually found together, but they benefit nor affect each other. They are just there, as we would find plants in the desert. This takes us to the end of the presentation for today. And of course, please be reminded to like, share, and of course, subscribe. Also be reminded that you can benefit from our many past papers on the channel.